Thank you for listening on Anchor and Spotify, where all topics are welcomed. You can follow HB on Facebook at Uncomfortable In-House Convo with HB, where you can be in direct contact with HB and his followers. There will be Q&As, polls, and updates on future show topics and guest opportunities. If you want to be a featured sponsor, you can email HB at uncomfortableinhouseconvo@gmail.com. Now grab your glass and get ready for Uncomfortable In-House Conversations with HB, the podcast.
Hello, thank you for tuning into Uncomfortable In-House Conversations with HB. Today I have a special guest. Like I promised you guys, as time go on, it's going to be very uncomfortable. And this one here is, I'm kind of put it in the hot seat here. Here with, I told you guys I have a special guest. I have an ex. And it's just not any ex. This is a person that's very significant to me within my adulthood, transforming into the man that I am now today. Bumps in the road. I'll let her go ahead and introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I am Tacovia Johnson, licensed realtor, beautiful actress, and Harold's ex.
Why you have to say it like that?
Yeah.
Why you got to put this? Why you got to lower your tone?
Dun, dun.
Whatever. All right. So here we are. Haven't spoken to her in a while. How you been doing, Miss Tacovia?
You don't want to say Miss Johnson?
Mrs. Johnson, how are you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you on this beautiful Thursday?
Actually, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. You look good.
Thank you.
usual.
I appreciate it.
You gonna tell me I look good?
I mean, you're doing your thing. I'm very proud of you.
Okay.
See your evolution.
Good. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I know a whole lot of listeners gonna want to know, she's your ex. How is it she your ex? Okay, not gonna go that deep into it, but within my maturation process, I was growing. I really didn't know who I was as a man, the direction that I was going in. I was having fun. And like most of you women, you guys are very mature of age, and you pretty much know what you want. She was just coming out of a divorce at the time, and me, I was just transitioning from another relationship, and again, just learning how to be a grown-up a little bit. So let's go from there. How did we meet?
Okay, so my sister actually threw my brother-in-law a surprise birthday party, and we met that night.
At my cousin's house.
Yeah, small world.
Yeah, small world. Yeah, so we both attended the same high school, but, sorry in passing. She wasn't ready for pimping in, but...
You were a jock, I was a nerd,
Okay.
and we were just not in the same circles.
Gotcha, okay, so we'll let that story go. So anyway, needless to say, we, from the jump, very, how can I say, rarely I meet somebody just off, I just see like, oh wow, like I like her. We talked, hung out, yeah. Before I go into my recollection, I'll let
Your
you.
soliloquy.
Yeah, you go ahead and you do your thing.
All right, so I mean, you're pretty much on the money so far. I'm waiting for to interject.
To shoot a draw, bam. So I would say this. It was what was new to me. It was as far as, like I said, I'm gonna say this. We had, well, maybe not skeletons, but we both, me more than you, but we both wasn't
I was about to say, hold on. Pippin, don't speak for me.
We both wasn't being as transparent as we should have been, and yeah. And to be totally honest and transparent, you know, I told her before, I just ain't planning to like you like I did. You know, I mean, I just thought we were just gonna be cool. We were gonna kick it every now and then, maybe hunch a little bit, and then, you know, you was gonna be out. What?
Wow.
I'm saying that's what I thought. You know, I didn't expect. You know, yeah. You know, like feelings became, you know, involved. We started spending a lot of time together. She brought something to the table that I never had before at the time. And I guess because of the characteristics, because she was a wife before. So I ain't never know what it was like, you know, like getting up in the morning, you know, you iron a brother clothes for work, or she cooking me breakfast, and you all right? You know, you good? You know, and asking stuff like that. Like I never had. That was like new to me. Yeah, I like that. I like that feeling. I just didn't understand, and I don't think that I was ready for everything else that came along with it. What you say?
I say that was an accurate assessment, because I had just come out of a divorce, and quite frankly, I was technically still going through my divorce. My ex-husband and I had been separated for a year before I filed for my divorce, and you met me on the tail end right before my final hearing.
Okay.
And yeah, so I came from being a wife and moved into a relationship. Instead of being your girlfriend, I was a wife again, because that's really all I had known for the past 8 years.
Right.
So.
And I will also say this, also too, when we bring up the thing about, I always bring up about being raised, you know, like I said, being raised in a two-parent household. Something that I don't really talk about enough, and I think because of that, a lot of stuff that we went through, things that I did, I think you kind of stayed a little bit because of that. Besides my good looks, but no, seriously, I think that the love that I had for your sons, and that was another thing I didn't expect, but I also was raised like, once you start dating somebody, their kids are your kids, and if you don't look at them like that, leave them alone. Right. And this ain't even for me. It didn't even come across to me as marriage. It's just that's how I was. Now, asterisk, I want y'all to understand that me saying that I didn't have no wings and no halo in my head, I ain't like that little motherfucker.
The youngest?
Yes. The youngest, like, I ain't like that little motherfucker when I first, he was like 2 years old. Tyrese, how old was Ty?
Ike wasn't 2 yet. He was 1. He had just started walking.
Okay, yeah.
Because he was going through potty training.
Yeah, that's especially
that's why
like
you didn't like him.
Yeah.
And Tyrese was like 4 or 5.
Yeah. So I had, both on top of my kids too. Her, I had the 5-year-old who was stuck in between, like, you okay between my daddy. You understand what I'm saying? That within itself, that was hard. Right. At the time, the youngest one, bitch, I was daddy. Which, we laugh today. We got a whole lot of stories because in his mind, he was the favorite.
He was the youngest of our blended family.
Yeah. A motherfucker couldn't say the shit to him, and if you did, he's gonna tell. He thought he always had to get preference of everything. I really, really, that I can say that I take out of, one of the great things about our relationship was that, how we didn't allow any other things to interfere when it came to family, and family time. We just genuinely, you love my sons, at the time just like they were yours, and I did, vice versa. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I really commend you on the fact that their father wasn't as present in their lives as need be, and you definitely stepped up to fill that role in a very alpha male type of way. So, I mean,
I'm just saying,
it is what it is.
Oh, shit. I'm getting flashbacks. Go ahead, man.
But you definitely did a great job in that area. I can't knock you. And yeah, Tyrese was kind of slow coming around to embracing you because, again, his loyalty lied with his father that he had been raised by for the most part. And now you're this new dude trying to tell him what to do. And he's like,
take your motherfucking ass to bed. I'll fuck kid up.
He was not having it at all because he was the man of the house during that separation.
Yeah.
So you was like trying to take his spot in his eyes, you know?
Yeah. And, and so Ike, when he, his dad, when their father did come around, he was like, you go with your daddy, I'm staying here with my daddy. like pimping. That's your daddy too? No, you my daddy.
Not to mention when they were finally of age to have cell phones and the text messages we would get when we would try and leave them every other weekend with their dad.
Yeah, like, come get me now.
They don't have food.
They don't have, like, he dry snitching.
It was horrible.
Also, to another thing, also was hard for me. I had to constantly delegate. Because it was times when, she would just be like, fuck that, go get my sons. Like, we got food, we got this, we got that. We don't need it. And I had to, which I used to hate doing. Sometimes I kick myself, but I think I did a great job at that. To allow him to be the dad or the father, even if he didn't stand on it or whatever, I felt like it was still my job to allow him to try to cultivate that. Even if he failed, it wasn't my job to, obstruct that or any kind of way.
How did that work out for you?
Listen.
I just please elaborate on how that worked out for you.
Listen, what I will say in learning that, there is no, what's the word I'm going to say? There's no substitute. I mean, there's no answer for bitch assness. But what I can say is, as a man, you can't do nothing but be you. So that's all what I was doing. I was trying to do it for the best interest of the kids, which it ain't always. But at the same time, you yourself. One of my kids, I give her great credit. My middle son, I think I'm going to talk about it a little later, in the conversation is, in my podcast, I always talk about Kobe and, I talk about her kids, but I don't mention George enough. And it's not because, I don't love him or whatever. It's just just to be quite frankly and not saying anything, I'm not trying to bad talk, but was in a very toxic situation with my son's mom. She also had substance abuse issues. So, and again, she's right here. If I, Tacobi being here, if I say anything that's not correct, she's going to correct me. But yeah, she had substance abuse issues. And sometimes I ain't going to lie, I didn't want to deal with her. I appreciate you for pushing and still saying we still got to get him, because at one point, I go back to the Bernie Mac thing. Like, he was one of them kids that didn't talk. It's like, motherfucker, why you don't talk? But he talked to her, you know what I mean? But he ain't like, his ass was like Michael Jackson. He was quick.
Don't do that,
no, but he was a good kid. It was just, yeah. So I'm gonna let you expound on that.
He just, I don't think that he got the nurturing that he needed because of mom's dependency on, drugs. So I just came, I'm naturally a nurturer.
Right.
So I saw that, and it's true. You can have a house full of children, grew up the same way, and all of them are totally different. So I really wanted to get to the core of Georgie, and just really expand on what he's interested in. And that's why he was able to open up and talk to me. And even when we broke up, I would still go get Georgie.
Yeah. I mean, and listen, the crazy thing is, like, again, to her credit, when his mom wasn't dealing with, whatever she was dealing with, she was okay. You know what I'm saying? She was okay.
She was too okay.
Yeah. She was too
okay. I remember when she brought you, she was trying so hard, so badly to, I guess, get in my good grace and yours as well, because she had done so much.
A lot.
Foolishness. And she was like, okay, I'll bring him a drink. And I'm like, I know you're not finna bring my man no Hennessy, girl.
Again, she didn't understand about boundaries. I don't think she ain't really like, let me fix his food. She'll call and be like, hey.
Fix his food?
Yeah, like, I got his food for him. I know he like this.
Oh, no, you don't. You can go on and burn that road up. You good.
But yeah, man, it was, times like that. I can't say I appreciate. Now, now, tell me from your perspective the things that I did wrong.
You were a chronic cheater, if that's even a term. Chronic.
Okay.
That was about it.
Yeah. I let's say this. Yeah. Here's the thing. We as men, we go back to what's comfortable for us. So everything that I'm telling y'all what happened, from the jump, it was, that's why I made it my business to reach out to her, because that really was a pivotal time in my life that molded me, with things good and bad to the person I am now. What happens, like I said before, everything was new. I had never been put in a position in a state like that to be able to be full-fledged, like, okay, nigga, it's on me. And after a while, it got to, when you're young and mature, it's like, man, where them hoes at? You know what I'm saying? I want to see if I still got it. And yeah, unfortunately, and again, I'm being, completely transparent. My thing was, I ain't just, how they say, just ain't fuck these hoes. I think when I had relationships where they thought that I had relationships with them. And, I put myself in a position of, for the disrespect to you, that they felt that they could reach out because they felt that they were on the same level.
Right.
And I didn't even that I didn't understand. I was just, I'm just being cool, trying to be friends.
Yeah, but it's like, my thing was, why are you mentioning me to these heifers? Like, if you gonna do your dirt, don't let it follow you home.
My warped mindset at the time was, I thought by mentioning you, bitches can't say, well, you tell me you got no girl. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't know they was finessing me.
Wait, so you were being an honest cheater?
Well, yeah, because...
Wait, but you're telling them the truth, but you ain't telling me.
Shit, that was logical to me. Don't make me get into that whole nother, because that's gonna go into something else, how us men we think. But it wasn't just that. When I look back, it was I was getting finessed. So as much as player as I thought I was, and as honest I thought I was, me having a conversation, when I'm telling them like, yo, I got my girl, blah, blah, blah. Because, for the most part, this doesn't go just for men, it goes for men and women. They want to know what's the chink in your armor, like what's wrong. So for me, I thought me telling them like, yo, look, I got a girl, we good. Like, this fun. They're like, oh, well, what do your girl? Oh, I see you. Oh, yeah, we take the kids, we do this. Oh, well, what happened? Well, you have to understand, I can't hang out, my girl, she's sick. She's sick. What's wrong with her? I'm just thinking, thinking it's just like Kanye says, it's just you and me. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, she has sickle cell. I'm thinking these bitches is being sympathetic to, listen.
You actually had women that would befriend me.
We're going to get that.
We're going to leave them nameless.
We're going to leave them nameless. No clout. We're not going to do that.
But you would actually have women befriend me just to find out, well, what is it about her that he's doing all this with me, but he won't leave her?
But see, here's the thing. I didn't do all that with them. Only thing they got was the LD.
And that's why I
ain't. But I mean, with that, I didn't know. That was that's like fourth quarter shit. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that person was doing that. And again, it's one of them things through all of that, I learned a lot about women that I thought I knew. I learned a lot about myself, that I had to come to terms with. I had to be honest with. I had to understand my own issues. And, as far as, one of the things that, I say all the time, as much as, I love my parents at one point because I didn't understand. I used to be mad at my dad. You understand what I'm saying? I did. I felt that he didn't ever speak up, or he just, so my thing was like, I ain't gonna let no woman control me. You ain't finna tell me what to do. I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do. And if anytime you get into a situation and I feel like you finna try to control me, bitch, I'm out. You understand what I'm saying? And I didn't understand the backstory of what he was doing and how he was moving.
So you're saying that to say I was trying to control you?
I'm gonna say this. I felt at a certain time, and I'm gonna preface my statement by saying this. To a certain time, I understood because you felt that you got tired of me disrespecting you. Or at one point, we can agree that you said, like, nigga, I feel like when you walk out that door, you finna go fuck a bitch. Yeah, it got back to consistent. It's not like that all the time, man.
I would think that we were good. And then I remember I called you one night because there's a certain hour, I don't care how grown HB you was, there's a certain hour that you just not going to be walking in the door and it's just going to be like me acting like my name is Becky or Ashley.
Right.
And you're not going to have hell to deal with because you coming at home at a disrespectful hour. But there would be moments where you just didn't know how to act.
It's just, yeah. I can't say that. I also want to, make mention that, things that we did, things that I did regret. Even now, you don't put your family members in your relationship. You don't, or even friends or family members, because we have to forget once we get over it, they still feeling however they feel. You know what I mean? You have to make a conscious decision and, say to yourself, is this something that I want? Is this the best thing for me? Or, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, because that's when you add other people in your relationship and your situation, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't help at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so... Yeah, so my question to you now, through all of that, years later, moved on, been married, divorced, you know, you situation now, you married.
It hurt a little bit.
I mean, no, I mean, we're not going to get into that conversation, but, you know, I, for the most part, I can say I want you to be happy. You know, I think you deserve happiness. You know, to the core, I think you're a good person. And no matter what, you know, I'm always going to love you. You know what I'm saying? Because the bond that we've built and the respect that I have for you, no matter what. Even if times that you didn't understand or you saw.
Oh, God.
But my question to you is, you know, what things now, like, that you take good and bad from our relationship moving forward that, you know, has molded you?
I learned not to give as much of myself without it being earned.
Okay.
I definitely learned how to embrace my femininity, because before you came into the picture, even in my marriage, I played a very masculine role, not because I wanted to, but based on necessity.
Right.
You know, I was the breadwinner, and of course, after the separation, of course, mommy and daddy.
Right.
Because despite whether he wanted to be there or not, I still had to hold down my household. So I wasn't as feminine, and I grew up as a tomboy. So it wasn't until our relationship that I really learned to embrace and be able to bask in that femininity. I've learned how to be my own person as well, because even in my marriage and in my relationship with you, my identity was wrapped up into being a wife or her girlfriend, even though I was acting as a wife.
Right.
So I learned to fall in love with me all over again, and just not be so accepting of nonsense, and I call a spade a spade. Like, it is what it is.
Right.
Stop sugarcoating it, trying to make it seem like it's something it's not. I don't tolerate disrespect at all, point blank, period. It ain't happening. And you know.
Okay. That's good. You know, I appreciate that. This for me, this here, I know for a lot of people it's taboo, because, you know, I was just speaking to a friend of mine. Me and her, you know, the younger woman, good friend of mine, and she asked me, she says, why can't, you know, a lot of people can't, you know, with their exes? And I said, well, the thing is, a lot of us, we burn bridges. And we do things in which we're not able to be accountable. And, you know, some people, you know, at the time just take it as, you know, but just bump it. I just hate them and I don't want to, you know, deal with it. And for me, that's anything and everything. We have to learn, because that within itself is toxic and you can't move on. And you be wondering why certain things happen to you, it triggers you. I learned myself, you know, as me and you spoke before recently, you know, going through, you know, the divorce I, you know, had, like, I didn't know how to feel being vulnerable. You know what I mean? Certain things, that shit didn't bother me, or you thought it didn't bother me, you know. And now it's, for me, it's different. I look at things, you know, different. The glass ain't always half full, you know. So, yeah.
It's refillable either way. So.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
I mean,
either you pour the shit out, or and put some more, or still something.
Half empty, half full is still refillable.
Yeah, so that's what definitely you have to, you know, we have to do. That's something that I do, and I appreciate it. So what we're gonna do now, I know it's gonna shock a lot of people. I'm gonna do my little live, right? So, you know, people gonna be like, oh shit, Tico, you know what I mean? So, yeah, just you know, just briefly just go in and we're gonna talk. So right in a minute, guys. Again, I want to say thank you to my special guest, Miss Tacovia Jafika Johnson.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Whatever. I want to, thank her for coming on, and again, I wish her well in many endeavors. We're still in communicate because of the kids. I still can't believe, again, both of my sons. Tyreek's doing really good. He has his own clothing line. I bought some shorts. I'm still waiting on my damn shirt.
Hoochie Daddy shorts.
Listen, not that I don't even look at it like that, but that, and also, as far as Ike, man, I am really, really proud because at one point, boy, I was like, boy, you ain't gonna be my shit. he didn't want to.
He acted like you.
He didn't want to do shit. Like, listen, that nigga.
You had him spoiled.
That
Tell
nigga,
the truth.
I did, but that nigga there, whoo, shit. But even him, all of them, him and Kobe and all of them, I really appreciate, just talking to them and just watching them grow. But so now we're gonna, I'm gonna leave you guys here. We'll come back later, but I'm going live now. And again, I want to thank you again, Miss Johnson, for coming on.
Mrs.
Well, Mrs. Okay, thank you. I stand corrected, Mrs. Johnson. All right.
Thank you.
Again, I would like to thank my special guest, Mrs. Tacovia Johnson, in coming on my podcast, Uncomfortable In-House Conversations with HB. I take my hats off on her for her to come on. It takes a lot of courage to come on and speak your truth, just like, me as well. And hopefully, in this conversation, we both got something out of it. And I hope, our guests got something out of it too. Where that, even breakups, it doesn't have to always be toxic. And we also understand in time, all things heal. But now I'm going to slide over to, my world-renowned HBisms. And this one here says, in order for you to get to where you need to be, you have to be open and honest in where you at. That's all I got for you guys, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, and you have a great night.